Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another edition of the Narrator Podcast. The Narrator Podcast is the home of original people, peace, reciprocity, and positive frames of reference. And I'm your host, Hallziespoetrycorner. Welcome all my narrators. Welcome to another live edition of the Narrator Podcast. Welcome all my narrators. So, all my narrators, they already know the demonstration. They already know what my podcast and content is about. So before I dive into the content, I'm going to go give a brief overview and a synopsis to everybody unfamiliar with the Narrator Podcast, walk you through the experience, and then dive right on into the content. So let's start at the very top, the tippy top, the name. I named my podcast the Narrative Podcast because the media weaves a false narrative about original people and original culture. So what I want to do is design a platform where I'm, combating these false narratives by providing positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. And that's basically what I do here on this platform. I provide positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. And as a matter of fact, that's my tagline, the Narrative Podcast, changing the narrative one episode at a time by destroying negative stereotypes about original people and original culture. How do we destroy the negative stereotypes? Provide positive frames of reference. So essentially what I'm attempting to do with my platform is kind of deprogram ourselves as a people and then enlighten people outside of our culture because they're only given negative frames of reference about our people and our culture via, the mainstream media. And it's their job to paint us in the most negative light as possible. They do this primarily to, sell and generate news. But then also they do that to, paint us in a certain light, to market us a certain way to a certain demographic. And when they do that, that they essentially kind of box us in systemically, because people, when they, come in contact with us, they already have these preconceived ideas and notions about, our people and our culture, like what we're supposed to look like, what we're supposed to sound like. And they just kind of generalize us based on the frames of reference that they're given about us, which are all negative. So the ultimate takeaway I want my listeners to get from my content, if nothing else, is the importance of sharing positive content on your, social platforms, whatever digital space you occupy. Just make sure you're sharing something positive about our people and our culture. Because today we're living in the digital era, and people are judged based on the types of content that they're posting online. So essentially, if you got a handheld device or post content on the online, you're a content creator. So, we can kind of change the narrative by posting positive content about our people and our culture. not playing into the negative stereotypes and the negative stigmas that they generate and propagate about us. What we should be doing is, we should be posting stories about entrepreneurship, leadership, empowerment, unity, how we're influencing our neighborhoods and the entire world as a people. So basically, we should be using our platforms to paint ourselves in a positive light, not playing to the negative stereotypes put out by the mainstream media about our people and our culture. So this is why I call my listening audience my narrators, because we living in the digital age and we're in the unique position to tell or narrate our own stories. Because if we don't, history has taught us, if history hasn't taught us anything, it's taught us this: if you don't tell your own stories, you'll have your stories told for you. And that's exactly what the media has been doing and is currently doing today. They're telling our story for us. They're telling it from a warped, skewed perspective. They're focusing a dirty lens on our story. So it's up to us to, set that right and, dispel all these negative isms and stigmas that they, make up about us. But to add on further to my point, the media, they are evil and they're wicked, they're diabolical, but they're also a business. And the first rule of business is supply and demand. So, this is why we got all this crappy television shows, all these crappy television shows and movies depicting us in a negative light. Because these Fortune 500 companies, they're watching, what we're posting and clicking on online. And so through their statistical research and their studies, their statistical studies, they're just, analyzing and collecting data, and they believe, this is how we're supposed to act, look, and sound. And so thus they create content based around their statistical research. So that's why, they're coming up with all these crappy television shows and crappy movies and writing these books depicting us in a negative light. So that's how we can kind of reclaim our power and, flip the narrative on them by posting positive content. Because the more positive content, you create, then that kind of affects the algorithm, because then these Fortune 500 companies are business, centered, and they're like, okay, well, this is what they want to see. But as long as we keep on posting all these negative stereotypes, they're going to think we want to see, gangbang culture, drug culture, drug dealer culture, drug user culture, violence culture, pimp culture, whore culture, thought culture. They're going to have that represent us as a people as long as we keep posting stuff like that. Next, before diving into the content, a few misnomers about my podcast. I try to make it time sensitive. The reason being, I want my content to be nice and cohesive. I want a nice flow to it. I want it easily accessible. I want an all-inclusive because we all learn and retain knowledge at different levels, and I want to appeal to everybody at every level. So while I don't want to shoot over everybody's head, I also don't want to dumb myself down and make myself seem unknowledgeable. But I want to make the content and the knowledge shared on my podcast digestible for anybody at any level. So anybody at any level can keep up when they're listening to me. Because while some of us, we're avid readers and, we have a high range of vocabulary and vernacular, others of us kind of just are more conventional and practical. So not saying conventional and practical people are unintelligent, they just don't see the need to, use all those big words, and they probably don't read novels like every other day. Like they probably they're light readers. They might read, the newspaper, a magazine here and there, or a book that interests them of their interests. And if they want to learn how to do something, they might, read a how-to book. But like I said, I want to bridge the gap. I want to, make sure I'm connecting to, everybody, no matter what level they're on. So that's why I try to keep all my content short, brief, and to the point. And yeah. So lastly, before diving into the content, on this platform, I refer to our people as original people as opposed to being black. The reason why I do that is because, I feel the word original better describes us as a people as opposed to black. And the reason being is because, the powers that be have linked and associated everything negative you can think of with the color black. Well, first of all, we're not a color anyway. Excuse me, that's first and foremost, we're not a color anyway. But they linked and associated every negative thing you can think of with the word black. You can open it up a dictionary, look for yourself, every single thing you can think of. Negative is linked and associated with black. But before they start, with all these negative words, here's the psychological part. They go out of their way to, link our ancestry with all this negativity. They start off, of dark-skinned people or people possessing dark pigment originating or descending from Africa, and then it just kind of snowballs. That do like in a real slick little way, they'll be like, dark, gloomy, desolate, depressed, and calamitous, and, just everything negative, dirty, vile, wretched, catastrophic, and just so on and so forth. But like I said, that's the only color spectrum in the dictionary that denotes origin. They don't link any other people, people's origin with, the color that supposed to represent them. So like if we're black, we're, originating from Africa, you can't look up the color yellow and seeing, people with a yellowish tint originating from Asia. So you're not going to see that. We're the only color spectrum that does that. And like I said, it was psychosomatic because the people that designed these dictionaries, they're from that old world English. And those are their ideals and the beliefs and the value systems that they hold dear. And that's what they believe. everything negative about our people. And that's what they try to teach and educate everybody outside of our culture about our people. Kind of what they're still doing today with the media. But in that same dictionary, you look up the word original, there's no negative connotation surrounding the word original. Original actually hints at the first, which is a big reason why we should refer to ourselves as original, because we were the first to inhabit this planet. Our existence on this planet predates all religious tracts. Before anything was, we was. Before anything on the planet was, we were. Like, human being wise. And contrary to all unpopular belief, we didn't evolve from monkeys. Like, ain't no monkeys in our DNA. We didn't come out of chimpanzees, gorillas, apes, orangutans. What's the other one? Baboons. None of that. So, like, our existence on this planet, we originated everything. We originated the written word. We originated the spoken word. We originated alchemy, mathematics, science, agriculture, astrology, astronomy, religion, if you want to keep it a million. Spirituality and religion, we originated everything. And then we also inhabited every corner of the globe originally. We was originally located in every part of the globe on this planet. And we didn't get there via slave ships. Another reason why we should refer to ourselves as original, and why I refer to our people as original people, is because it unifies us as a people, because there are so many different types of us scattered all throughout the globe with different beliefs, value systems, traditions, cultures, and viewpoints and vantage points about any and everything. But the one commonality we all share is we're original people. We can all, no matter where we're at in the world, we can all trace our lineage back to Africa. We all possess high amounts of carbon, aka melanin. So, original is the tie that binds us all together, no matter, what pronoun you use to refer to yourself as. You are an original man or an original woman. So yeah, I think I covered all my bases. I'm not, just a quick disclaimer before I jump into the content, I'm not saying don't. If you're comfortable with referring to yourself as black and, you did the knowledge and you got knowledge, then that's all right. I'm not saying that. I just feel original is a better word to describe us. So that's all I'm saying with that. I'm not trying to be argumentative and telling people what they can and can't do. I'm just telling you what I do on this platform. All right. So this is a live edition of the Narrator podcast. And what I typically do is I put out positive frames of reference about our people and our culture via articles, news articles. And the reason why I do that, because like I said, we're constantly bombarded with negativity. We rarely ever hear or see positive things about, our people, our accomplishments and things that we contribute to the world. They're always showing us downtrodden, destitute, living in depravity, causing, violence and chaos and, disrupting order. That's how we're always portrayed on the media. So when I'm sharing these articles, what I'm attempting to do is set the trend to normalize being normal. See, it's their job to, when they bombard us with all that negativity, they're trying to get us to be desensitized to it and make us accept it as normal. Like it's not normal just to, get triggered by anything out the blue and blow somebody's head off and go on about your day. That's not normal. We've been programmed and conditioned into believing that's normal. What's normal for us is being kings and queens, gods and goddesses of this universe, and conducting ourselves as such, not sitting up here being okay with, operating at, less than 100%, living way below our means, just barely above the poverty line. That's not normal. They've taken to normalize that to us. So this is what I'm doing, attempting to remove that programming by sharing positive content, reminding us who we are as a people by highlighting and showcasing our excellence and, all the good things we do instead of all the bad things and the negative things all the time. And I want to inspire and motivate all listeners to do the same. All right, so tonight on the Narrator podcast, Positive Frames of Reference, the first article reads, the headline reads, over 150 LA County foster youth have graduated high school and are headed to college. So this is like a monumentous event. So I'm starting strong. So as you know, I think we kind of tend to forget because we got so many things going on within our community, so many things that we're being targeted for that we kind of forget. We have those that don't have, not born into families with people that care about them, traditional families, a mother or father or a grandmother, auntie, uncle, whoever raising them. A lot of our children grow up in foster care, unfortunately, partially, resoundingly, like large amounts, have been removed from the home because what's going on in the world, all the systemic oppression, puts the parent on overload, and they end up turning to, narcotics to self-medicate themselves because of what's, they can't handle it. And that's another thing, people outside of our culture kind of don't understand. Like all the things that have been done to us and is constantly being done to us, everybody can't process that. Everybody's just not strong like that. And some people succumb to the pressure and they resort to pharmaceuticals to, self-medicate. I don't want to make it sound like drug addiction is a treat. Like, no, that's the word I was searching for. Self-medicate themselves, and a lot of them, the children in this, foster care facility in particular, that's how they ended up there. There was, their parents was, substance abusers and couldn't properly take care of them and just went on and signed over their rights to the state. But, there's always a silver lining through all that these children, through all what these children went through. They stayed on the path. They buried themselves deep in their studies and just, as the old saying goes through, you don't know, what you're capable of until, you have to go through something. So they basically overcame their surroundings and just stayed hyper focused and accomplished their goals. Now they're all, on their way to a 4-year college or university. One of the keynote speakers at their graduation was Tiffany Haddish. She joined in the live feed. And if you didn't know, she was a product of, foster care as well. So that, struck a real inspirational chord to all of them. And, they're just going to go on to do great things in life. So join me in a warm narrative podcast round of applause for all the foster care youth of LA County that graduated this year. All right, next article. Thick next article. All right, here we go. Next article, the headline reads, 10-year-old Maryland youth become first black deaf oh wow, okay. Let me start all over again. I had something else. 10-year-old becomes first black deaf boy to earn Emmy. To earn Emmy nomination. I messed that all up, but yeah. Sometimes I just get the chicken scratching it when I'm bullet pointing my notes. But the young brother's name is Kevin Wooder Bowie. So he's the first black deaf actor to be nominated for an Emmy Award. He stars on wow, what does he star on? I think I forgot to put that in the notes. Let's see, look it up right quick. But it's basically a show kind of similar to The Walking Dead. It's streaming right now. I myself have never seen the show, but I'm gonna go check it out. What is the name of that shit? I think it's called The Last of Days. So according to Wiki, the one before him was Keisha Knight Pulliam to receive the Emmy nomination. So still. The Last of Us. Okay, that's the name of the show. All right. Yeah, so it's basically like another show like The Walking Dead, like post-apocalyptic zombie type situation. So he's also, he plays a deaf person in the show too, uses sign language to communicate. So it's awesome nevertheless because I think, that's a whole nother dynamic as an actor to not have the speaking voice, to have to use sign language and still have to give your character depth and dimension. So that's a challenge within itself. And he's only 10. So, there's some building room on there, but impressive nevertheless. Join me in a warm narrative podcast round of applause for Kevin Woodard. Apologies if I mispronounce his name. Because I was trying to like YouTube to see how his name pronounced. And they were sitting up there signing his name. Like, wow. Next article, the headline reads, Cum Laude with 4.0. Triplets graduating from Ola High in McDowell, Georgia. Kennedy, Caleb, and Sydney Belcher. They enrolled in college, or they were dual enrolled in college while they were attending high school. So they earned their college degrees after they graduated. And there's a whole lot of high schools like that where you can dual enroll. Like most of them are like vocational though, but they earned the actual degree. So that's really impressive. There's not too much more about, I couldn't find too much more about what they were studying and what their plans for the future is, but it was something I thought noteworthy to share. So give it up for the Belcher triplets. Okay. Next article headline reads, Black-owned app lets users activate their own body cam when pulled over by the police. And the inventor's name is James A. Samuel Jr. And the name of the name of the app is called Angel. That's really kind of all to it. It didn't say, what year he invented it or like the dynamics and how it works, but essentially like, I think it's like kind of like a hidden camera type deal that automatically turns on. Kind of like the way microphones in your phone work anyway. Like, that's why I always tell people, like, don't talk around on your phone or say something when you got your phone in your pocket. Because, like Big Uncle Sam, or Big Brother's always watching. But I guess that's a positive way to make, that technology work for us, because we definitely need body cams, because what just happened to the brother that I just got through talking about over the weekend on my last episode of the Narrator podcast. The police didn't even have their body cams on, turned their body cam footage on until after they had already shot them. So, okay, next article, the headline reads, 18-year-old student beat cancer, graduates high school with a 4.7 GPA, and the young sister's name is Aya Osman. She graduated from Orange Park, Florida. She's been gifted with a full ride scholarship to NYU. Let's give a warm narrative podcast round of applause for Aya Osman. And James A. Samuel for his invention. All right, moving right along. Had kind of a lot of them today. I usually only have like about 3. Next article, the headline reads, 17-year-old makes history, becomes Mexico's youngest black pilot, and the young brother's name is Gabriel Carruthers, and he's from Albuquerque, New Mexico. He graduated last year. He built and designed his own flight simulator. He became interested in flying. A family friend of their father's had his own personal plane to let him fly in the back seat. So, and ever since then, he's always had, inkling in him to want to fly planes. He's also like 3rd generation Tuskegee Airman. His father was, came from descended from that program. Has lineage with that. Not the actual, of course, but they had a program for, people, the aviation program, named after the original Tuskegee Airman, but he's like 3rd generation in that. So what he does now is he basically travels to STEM events and teaches the children about aviation and the importance of flying. And STEM, if you didn't know, stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And so he definitely got a bright future ahead of him. So join me into giving him a warm narrative podcast round of applause to our young brother, aviator extraordinaire, Gabriel Carruthers. I'm sitting up here saying Gabriel. I'm thinking, I think his name's Gabriel. Yeah, Gabriel. That's a female's name. I'm saying Gabriel. I don't know where I got that from. His name is Gabriel. Yep, and that's it, and that's all for the articles tonight. So take those in, soak those in, and just take my Example, like share positive content on all your timelines. Something similar to that, we gotta normalize positivity in the digital space because we're misappropriately using it to, destroy each other basically. Like we're using social media to sling mud, hurl insults at one another instead of building each other up and edifying one another. That's what we should be doing online. Like if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing, and that's all right too. But definitely don't get on Twitter bashing your brother and sister on Twitter, bashing your brother and sister on Instagram, bashing your brother and sister on YouTube or wherever, TikTok. Like, if anything, just be using your platform to build people up and edify and, shine the light on them, not, tear them down and destroy them. Like, because we get attacked from all sides anyway. But like I said, that's it for the articles tonight. Now the second part of my podcast, I deliver commentary on current events, breaking news, whether it's something specifically within our community or something topic or topics trending worldwide, and the purpose of me doing that is because, the media have us looking and sounding crazy. And like I said earlier, if you don't tell your own stories, you'll have your story told for you. So when I'm delivering, commentary in the speaking point section of the Narrator podcast, that's exactly what I'm doing. Controlling the narrative by, telling the chain of events from our perspective, through our eyes, how we would interpret it, how we would interpret the situation, just like whatever it is. Like, okay, so tonight, it's not even a super duper long one. This is a super duper short one. The young lady got arrested for screaming in Dubai. And I think her name is Tina Young Allen. Let me see. Tierra, I said Tina, Tierra Young Allen. So she got detained in Dubai. So here's a skinny. Basically, she is a social media influencer, truck driver. She does these videos where she's driving trucks and and does other stuff too on social media. She's basically like, I guess, like an Instagram baddie, truck edition. Like she, drives the big rigs and, she wears all this stuff and, does like Instagram baddie type stuff. Well, she rented, got a rental in Dubai and the dude started screaming on her. And so she screamed back on dude. And they arrested her and detained her. And here's the thing, over there, it's this is why primarily all the, people of Middle Eastern descent typically come to America, especially the women, because there are liberties over there, because like they're very, very, you know, that kind of like stereotypical Islamic world. They got the women have to be covered up and can't make eye contact with nobody and walk behind the man and all that. Like, so it's like that over there for the way they treat their women and expect women to act over there. Their own women. So, they wasn't going to hesitate to put a sister in check. Because like I said, how our images are projected to the rest of the world. So he probably like left at the chance to assert his dominance over her. And, unfortunately, she's being detained by their government, and there's kind of nothing you can do. All I can say is, when you go overseas, make sure you're accustomed to their customs, like do the knowledge if you're traveling, out of the U.S., because people, they don't like, Americans, and they really, really don't like Black Americans, original men and original women. Everywhere we go, every corner of the globe that we inhabit, we're persecuted. They people hate us so much. So you really have to be conscious of that fact that wherever we go, we're going to be persecuted. So like really like super racist countries to kind of be leery of when you go over, do your research, do your history, like poke around online and look at stuff. I know you're not going to find, roses and peaches and roses online, but like at least, make that effort and don't take it at face value before you hop on that plane, going to a different country, because, they're going to do you dirty. Like just a couple years ago, it seemed like it was a trend. Black people original people was going over to like the Dominican Republic and not coming back, like dying, getting killed. So you just gotta be conscious of that fact and protect yourself. Like do the knowledge, know about the place that you're going to visit. Do some type of, studying about where you're going to be vacationing. Like know the lay of the land so you can be aware of your surroundings. Like know the culture, know how the people act, and ultimately if you want to leave, like don't be afraid to travel, but just when you travel, just already know who you are. And like we are a persecuted people do not like us, people do not love us. But they look up to us, they try to like emulate us, but at the same time, they don't like us. So, so like I said, I try to keep my, broadcast real super duper short, sweet and to the point. I think I covered all my points about that speaking point because there was nothing really left to say. The young lady's being detained. I'm pretty sure we'll hear updates as the story escalates, but we can't really cry foul ball on that. Or actually what I can do is, kind of stick a sub point onto that it's this baddie culture for our sisters that kind of played, I believe it was a contributing factor. This image, like we're normalizing behavior that's not normal. Like we sitting up there, like just acting like you're supposed to leave the house butt naked, showing too much of your skin, acting, with having an attitude, just behaving unladylike. And like that's being pushed, that's being normalized on our sisters. If it's not that rude, trap, chick with the tattoos and the, like semi-naked persona. It's the independent, I don't need a man, I don't need nobody type, female being pushed to the forefront as a representation of our sisters, and we're getting a lot of misrepresentation is what I'm saying. So we gotta normalize being normal. Like we got misrepresentation as brothers too. We got these like, over emotional, gun-toting savages being pushed to the forefront to misrepresent us. So this is just why I always tell people, my main objective is to share positive content. Because we got to start, flipping the narrative about how we're being portrayed, in the media and in how we're perceived, in America and abroad. Because no doubt her detention was a direct result of the way sisters are being portrayed in the media, because they already had a negative perception about her when they saw her anyway, But yeah, I think I just about covered it. So yeah, I'm gonna just end it here then. So stick a pin in it here. Thanks for listening. If you're tuning in and this is the first time you tune in, guess what? I got some good news for you. You're now officially a narrator. You're charged with the task of putting positive content on all your platforms. So, yeah, take a bow. You're now in the club. So, join me this weekend for another full episode of the Narrator podcast. I broadcast every single weekend without fail. So, like in my full edition of the Narrator podcast, I break it down into sections. Each section has a speaking point, and then I already told you why for time. But also, that helps me to stay hyper focused. I can talk about, an array of topics without going down a rabbit hole. So it's just like I can each section I got bulleted points, and I time each section to just make it, digestible. I don't think I have time to go over my format for a full broadcast of the Narrator podcast. I'm going to say tune into my previously recorded episode, which would be like 254, I think. Yeah, I think this episode marks 255. But see my previously recorded episode in my episode log of the Narrator podcast, and see, my format for that. Shoot, what else do I got going on? So I broadcast randomly on weekdays when I go live, so I don't never know what day of the week that I'm going to have available to give you guys a live broadcast of the Narrator podcast, but I definitely do at least one live broadcast every week, and it's usually Monday through Thursday. So tune in regularly to wherever you get your podcasts from, and you won't miss me when I go live. Another good way to avoid missing a live broadcast of the Narrator podcast is to follow me on Twitter and to follow me on YouTube. And the reason being because this platform that I'm currently on right now broadcasts directly to YouTube and Twitter. So like every time I go live, it broadcasts directly to YouTube and Twitter. So if you're already following me on YouTube and Twitter, you want to get that notification. So follow me on YouTube, Halsey Allen. It's my user channel. It's not the Narrator podcast channel, just what I be looking at when I'm on YouTube, and just click that follow button or subscribe button, and then click the notification bell. Cause like the Narrator podcast episodes will be my only uploads in it. Everything else is just like, user stuff. Or follow me on Twitter. I'm also Halsey Allen on Twitter, and you will know when you got my profile because I have my book of poetry pinned to my profile. It's titled The Black Card. I'll get more into that in a second. But follow me on Twitter too, so you don't miss me when I go live during the weekday. And since I brought it up, I brought a book of poetry titled The Black Card. It's available in the Poetizer bookstore, the online Poetizer bookstore on Poetizer.com. And what the Black Card is about, it's a 30-page book of poetry. It's basically an all-encompassing look into our world as a people. So it actually serves kind of like a guide, self-titled, The Black Card. If you know, you know. It's definitely creative, witty, insightful. You will enjoy it. It'll make a good coffee table read, travel read. Really creative. It captures our experience from all aspects, positive and negative. Everything that we go through as a people, you will love it. Go do yourself the biggest user's favor. Go to the Poetizer bookstore and purchase my book, The Black Card, written by me. Do it. You'll be glad you did. And also support my poetry blog titled hallziespoetrycorner. And it is on blogger.com. The address is www.mrhalziesblogs.com. And the way you support that is go to that link and share a poem or poems that you like from that blog on all platforms, on your Facebook, on your Twitter, on your TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, whatever you're active on. Share a poem from Hallzies Poetry Corner. Now, if you got a visual platform, obviously like YouTube or Instagram, you would probably if you read a poem that you like from Hallzies Poetry Corner, you would probably have to name, the next time you do an upload, name the title of the poem that you like and the link and all that. They won't take the video down and it won't upset your algorithm or whatever. Yeah. And then another option you could also do if you have a Gmail account, sign into your Gmail account and go to my Poetry Corner. You can leave me a comment. Like basically like a way of signing my guest book. You can go online. You got a comment section in each poetry at the bottom of the poem. You see a comment section. You can type, leave me a comment on it. And definitely share them and like them and all that, but the best way to help me out is share them on all your platforms. But that's about all I got going on right now. I got all kinds of projects in the works. The platform is growing. Thanks for all the support. So, if it wasn't, I wouldn't keep doing it. I'm almost at episode 300. So, thanks for all the support. Yeah, that's it and that's all. Rapper Dapper. It's Tuesday. Tomorrow is Hump Day. So we're almost there. So, put a pin in it right here. Sending you guys love, light, and healing energy. And join me this weekend for another full broadcast of the Narrator podcast. I'm out of here like last year. I'm Halsey Allen, changing the narrative one episode at a time and challenging you to change the narrative one social media post at a time. Till next time, Halsey Allen and the Narrator podcast signing off, and it's like that.
Listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.